in the quietness of your heart, in your own space, repeat after me the lay aside prayer. God, please lay aside everything I think I know about this disease, about these steps, about this program, about this book, about myself, and especially about you, God, so I may have an open mind and a new experience with this disease, with these steps, with this program, with this book, with myself, and especially with you, God. Amen. So, last week we asked that you bring to the workshop an area of your life that you would like to see God show up in and create change for you, because you have not been successful in doing that. We also talked about memorizing that lay aside prayer, saying it at least twice a day, first thing in the morning when you get up, last thing at night before you go to bed. Then use it any other amount of times during the day that you need to, basically when life kicks in. It's good to be here. That meditation period is used to get centered, to pull into why you're here. Why do you show up on a Zoom workshop to move through all 12 steps in doing the work? Not studying the book. We're going to move through the book and highlight some stuff and underline some stuff, but this workshop is about doing the work. When we get to inventory, you'll write inventory. I'll have you go out to your sponsors, read your inventory, and we'll come back and do 6 and 7. But we'll continue on a weekly basis as we've started. I love doing this because when I got here, and when I say doing this, when I got here 34 years ago or 32 years ago, when I became thoroughly convinced, this became primary and of utmost importance in my life. What, Mike? A cultivation and a pathway to some power that could first and primary keep me stopped, and then secondly, recreate my life through direction, intuition, and inspiration. That's what happened for me. I do believe that's why the name Mad Dogs came to me to name this workshop. We see that last week we had 98 people. Today we have half that amount. So I'm going to urge you again and implore you again to make a commitment to yourself. This is not for me. Very selfish and self-centered, but with some stuff, I'm still that way. I got mine. What are you doing here? Why have you showed up? Told you some people just came to see what we're going to do. That's it. They could give less than a hoot owl about a process of recovery and recovering. So we're going to keep pushing. I'm going to put it out there and nail it. Next week, we'll have another amount gone from this 49. I don't know if there were a few individuals that asked me after we said it was closed last week, could they come on? And I said, by all means, come on. I notified my three assistants in doing that. Told them I would take the weight. I don't know if they showed up today or not. But what we're not going to have is people in and out of this workshop. Unless, like a few did this morning, you send a text out to our WhatsApp Mad Dogs line and say, something came up, can't make it this week. I'll listen to the recording when I get a chance before next week. I'll do the homework, but I'm going to keep it moving. That's what happened for me. My spiritual guides and sponsors did not play. Anyway, here we go. One last thing, a number of you have donated for workbooks. Thank you. The majority of them have been sent out. I think there's one or two that said they wanted one. They did not donate, and they did not leave me pertinent information as to addresses. So I put that list on our Mad Dog WhatsApp, and whoever's still interested in having a book shipped to them, all you have to do is donate. I will get it out to you promptly. So here we go. We were asked last week to look at the title page. So let's open our book to the title page. That's the first page that has the words Alcoholics Anonymous on the top in big bold letters. The title page was very important to me. The title page opened up an understanding that what I thought was truth was a lie. What I thought was truth was a lie. And that lie was, if I can just physically stop shooting heroin, I'd be okay. And I lived in that delusion, that untruth, for a number of years, precisely 20-something years, where I stopped by way of a geographic, by way of drug substitutions, by way of methadone maintenance, methadone detox, inpatient treatment, jailhouses, all the stuff that happens to the mad dog, and they cannot pull it off. I lived in that lie. I brought that lie. The title page opened up a whole new understanding as to what's wrong with me. That top piece, Alcoholics Anonymous, across the top of that, I would like you to write. So with your brand new big books and your highlighters and your pen, we getting busy this morning. Across the top of that page, write, the recovery process makes me dependent on God totally to live. The recovery process makes me dependent on God totally to live. Highlight it. Highlight those two big, bold words, Alcoholics Anonymous. If you're a member of Cocaine Anonymous, you can write that on the side in parentheses. But the process is outlined, if you wish, you don't have to. The process outlined in this book can be used for an alcoholic or for an addict. as we move down that page, we see how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. Highlight that statement. No, douche, you don't have a say in this. Highlight that statement. Underline the two words, have recovered. That's the very first promise that this book gives to you, and I'm also giving to you. That you don't have to stay recovering. You can become a recovered alcoholic or a recovered addict. I believe I gave you a definition for recovered. To get back what you've lost or you've freely given away. Going to give you a definition for the word process. Everything I'm saying should be written down. And if I'm moving too fast, somebody raise their hand. Or unmute and say, Mike, slow down.
Can you slow down a little bit, please?
Mike, I do apologise.
Meaning?
I'm on the. I've wrote in the recovery process makes me dependent on God for recovery. I must be on the wrong page here because I can't find where you're saying recovered. I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
We're on the title page. The title page is the second page in the big book that has the words in big bold writing, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
Can you just repeat for me? Sorry, what was the first bit that you said about getting to God? Sorry, just.
Joe, it's the third page.
One more time. One more time. If you're distracted, that's what the meditation period is about, and that's what saying the lay aside prayer is about, to get centered. And stay here with us in the workshop, listening attentively.
Excuse me.
So we're on the title.
What page, please? I got in a bit late. Sorry, can you just tell me what page you're on?
The title page. Next time, be on time. We start at 10 o'clock.
Page. We're on this page, yeah?
Title page.
Oh, at the beginning.
You too, man. You take care. I'll see you in the morning, yeah? See you in bed.
Oh, thank you.
I'll wait on you guys. We're on the title page. The words Alcoholics Anonymous is written at the top of the page in bold black letters. Across the top of that, on top of that, you're gonna write, recovery process makes me dependent on God totally to live. One more time. Recovery process makes me dependent on God totally to live. You're going to underline the word process. On the side of the page, down the margin, or on the adjacent page next to it, write the word process. I'm going to give you a definition. Process, a systematic series of actions a systematic series of actions directed to some end. Process, a systematic series of actions directed to some end. That's definition A. Definition B, a continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place in a definite manner. Definition B, a continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place in a definite manner. I need Jason from the UK, from the UK to unmute and read me back the definition of process.
Definition of process: a systematic series of actions directed to some end.
That's definition A. You got definition B?
No, that one, I need you to repeat that, please, Mike.
Okay, here we go. Definition B. A continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place in a definite manner. One more time. A continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place in a definite manner. Corina M., read definition B to me. Unmute.
Yep. Process B, a continuous action, operation, or series of changes taking place in a definite manner.
There you go. So I've given you two definitions for the word process. So it is not a helter-skelter, wishy-washy, upside down, uncoordinated movement that's taking place in my life. It's a systematic series of actions directed to some end. What's that end? A spiritual awakening, a cultivation of a personal relationship with a God that begins to first keep you stopped and then get you in a process of recreation of your life. We'll talk about that more as we move on. So there's a definite order to this deal. I sort of giggle now and, laugh to myself. I'm not as obnoxious as I used to be when I sit in meetings and people talk about making amends and they haven't even done 1 through 9 yet. Or they're writing inventory and they haven't even done 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 yet. A definite manner, continuous action. So this is a lifetime deal. I'm 34 years clean, and I've been through the process of recovery, completing all 12 steps numerous times. I think I've lost count. I'm back in another piece of work again. So, We move down to how many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism. Next to alcoholism, right, and drug addiction. You're going to highlight that sentence and underline have recovered. Definition for recovered. To get back what I lost or freely gave away. To get back what I lost or freely gave away. Seb, I guess that's how you pronounce your name, S-E-B. Tell me about that sentence that we just highlighted and underlined. What'd we do?
How many thousands of men and women have recovered from alcoholism? That sentence.
What did we do? What did we do with that?
We underlined have recovered, and then I wrote next to it, recovered means to get back what you've lost or freely given away.
Right. Next to alcoholism, write in and drug addiction. Because again, the process that we're going to move through can be used for an alcoholic or for an addict. So here's the piece that really caught my attention. I got a 3rd edition, you guys got a 4th edition. You guys over in the UK actually have it, but they stopped putting it in our big books a very long time ago. The circle and triangle. That circle and triangle, when it was explained to me, it blew me away. Because it said to me, you've been living in a delusion and a lie for God knows how long. It was suggested to me and given to me as a theory that I suffered from a disease that was threefold in nature, 3-dimensional, not 1-dimensional, Mike, like I thought, because I thought I was all that in a bag of chips. If I could just stop, I could get it all together. Never worked. So this circle and triangle opened up a whole new world for me. So in your big books, if you don't have the circle and triangle, get a coin, preferably a $50 or a chip medallion or something, and draw that circle under 3rd condition, but leave a little space under it, or just draw a circle if you can draw good, and inside that circle, you're going to put a triangle. Now, you guys in the UK, you already have it. This is for those of them that are on here that it's not in their big books, like Tina and Paris, and I think Zoe's on here. I don't know if Lawrence McGee showed up. So here we go. 3-sided triangle representing a threefold disease. So next to that first, third, right, and it has body, it has unity for you UK guys. In the middle, let me get my UK big book. Yeah. For you UK guys, 4th edition, then you got a bunch of stuff printed under there, reprinted by permission of General. Then you got the circle and triangle, unity, recovery, and service. For those of you that have to draw it in, circle, triangle, that left third, right unity on that triangle line. And outside the circle, right body, B-O-D-Y. The second third, the bottom third, where recovery, the word recovery is, or write in the word recovery, right mind, M-I-N-D. And next to that third quadrant, that third piece, next to the word service on the outside of the circle, write the word spirit. We're going to talk about that for a minute.
Sorry, Mike. What do I write opposite unity? Sorry, mate.
Next to unity on the outside of the circle, write body, B-O-D-Y. Under the word recovery, write the word mind. Next to the word service on the outside of the circle, write the word spirit. So what was given to me was that, no, Mike, you ain't all that in a bag of chips. You've been twisted for a very long time. And if this stuff is true, M-I-N-D, Johnny, mind, mental, M-I-N-D. If this stuff is true for you, in your body you suffer, in your mind you suffer, and in your spirit you suffer. You have the disease of untreated alcoholism or untreated drug addiction. In order for you to recover, in order for you to become whole again, because remember we talked about recovered. I've given me away, or I've lost pieces of me. To get that back, there's 3 things that you're going to have to do on a continuous basis. And that is treat your body, treat your mind, and treat your spirit. That's what those 3 pieces inside the circle and triangle represent. Unity, the fellowship, going to meetings, having commitments, hooking up on a regular basis, getting a home group. Just by doing that physical act, you're treating your body. Your mind, that deals with recovery, you take it to the recovery process. Don't write anything yet. I'm going to tell you what to write. That means you're in the work. You're working the 12 steps. But a Mike D deal is that the steps need to work me. I need to have an experience with every single step to get an internal transformation. So my mind needs to be brainwashed. Somebody ain't like that. It's very simple. We'll talk about it in step 2. And then my spirit, which is also untreated, I take to service. Meaning, I carry the message in meetings when I share. I don't carry the mess. I work with others. I speak at meetings whenever asked, or at conventions or workshops. Some of you, it's too late. You've already been pegged. The plan for your life is going to begin to reveal itself to you. God has monumental things in store for you. He's been waiting on you. If I do all three of those things in unison, meaning treat my body, treat my mind, and treat my spirit, I can recover. That's the promise in that sentence on top of that circle and triangle. Recovered. So, next to unity, you wrote body. Underneath body, write to fellowship. To fellowship. That's how you treat the body. You treat the mind with the recovery process. That's the next third. So in front of mind, write the obsessions of the mind. To the recovery process. So anytime you show up at this workshop on Mondays, if you're in a piece of work or you've done a piece of work with your sponsor, if you review, if you're actively writing inventory, which you should be doing every day, the same way you drank or the same way you smoke crack or drop pills or whatever. Or if you're in amends and you're making amends, something to do with amends on a daily basis, or living in steps 10, 11, and 12, you're in the recovery process. That treats your mind. And adding one more piece, review. Review. When life kicks in, say you lay aside prayer and review. Get back to what the problem is, because anything that you're suffering from begins and ends with you. And then your spirit, your awakened spirit. On top of spirit, write awakened spirit to carrying the message. Awakened spirit to carrying the message. Somebody ain't gonna like this, but sorry. Some of y'all out there, you're dead. You ain't awake yet. But if you do these three things, you will begin to have a spiritual awakening. Trust me. Am I right, Sarah? You begin to see stuff about you. This has nothing to do with nobody else. These three pieces are internal. So the disease is inside of you. It's not outside of you. People, places, and things are about the unmanageability. That's only one piece of this disease, but it's internal because of the way it affects you. So there you have the three legacies of Cocaine Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous: unity, recovery, and service. There's a whole workshop I do on that. And those three legacies represent a threefold disease: body, mind, and spirit. The promise, which is what the circle represents: if I treat each part, I will become whole, I can recover. So, on top of that circle, or on the side, or draw an arrow to it or something, write, circle means one day I will be whole. Circle means one day I will be whole. And in parentheses, next to that, write, to be done in equal parts. To be done in equal parts. So here we go. Who we got? Jonathan B. from Ireland. What did we just do with the circle and triangle? Unmute yourself.
We wrote on the left-hand side, unity, then body, yeah? And then underneath we wrote the obsession of the mind, recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the other side we wrote service to awaken the spirit. And then you wrote on the side there, circle means one day I will be whole, to be done in equal parts.
You got it, babe. You got it. I'm coming to Ireland too. That's one of the places I ain't been yet. I done been over there to a bunch of places, but I'm coming to see y'all one of these days. Good.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Deal.
Yeah.
Any questions about the circle and triangle so far? Ask it now.
Mike, I've got a quick question. It wasn't about the circle and triangle. I got that. It was, you said about the disease is inside of you. People, places, and things are, and I lost you. I was writing it down.
People, places, and things are about how they affect your insides, the unmanageability. You don't have to write this, but nothing and nobody has power unless you give it power. I'm going to say it again. Nothing or nobody has power unless you give it power.
Ooh,
so, along with those 3 pieces to my disease and the 3 legacies of Cocaine Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous, there's 36 principles that goes with these 3 deals, 12 for each. So under body to fellowship, write the 12 traditions. Under obsessions of the mind to the recovery process, write the 12 steps. And under awakened spirit to carrying the message, write the 12 concepts of service. There's a service manual that you can get from your AA store or bookstore or whatever, that are the 12 concepts of service. Therefore, you have 36 spiritual principles by which you can live your life for the rest of your life.
Hi, Mike, can you just repeat that, please?
What's that?
Can you just repeat what you said about body and position?
36 spiritual principles by which you can live your life. The 12 traditions goes with the body, with the unity part of the triangle. The 12 steps goes with the obsessions of the mind to the recovery process. And the 12 concepts of service go with the awakened spirit to carrying the message. That's the title page. Let's turn to the table of contents page. We got a couple things we want to cover because we said an hour, we're going to do an hour. The table of contents page. At the top of the page, write, this textbook is to be done in order. It is not a novel. This textbook is to be done in order. It is not a novel.
Sorry, what page was that above, Mike?
Okay, the table of contents page. Just turn the page from the Alcoholics Anonymous page, the title page. The next page is the table of contents. And I might be not right. Let me get your English book.
No, you're
yes,
correct. I've got it. Yep,
next
okay.
page,
Yep.
Table of contents page. At the top, you're going to write, this textbook is to be done in order. It is not a novel. Hey, Google, what's the definition of a textbook?
Textbook has two different meanings. Starting with the most common one, textbook can be used as a noun to mean a book used as a standard work for the study of a particular subject.
Oh.
Is that the meaning you were looking for?
That's fantastic. Thank you. A workbook to
Do
be
you want to hear
used.
how textbook is spelled?
No, that's okay, Google. Thank you. Okay, so a textbook is to be done in order. It is not a novel. Hey, Google, what's a novel? Hey, Google, what's a novel?
According to Wikipedia, a novel is a relatively long work of narrative fiction, typically written in prose and published as a book.
Y'all got that? So this is not a novel, it's a textbook, meaning you are studying in a subject, working a process that you know nothing or very little about. And even if you've done the work before, every time I go through a piece of work, I see something I didn't see before. Here's the confirmation that it's a textbook. Turn to the preface page, Preface, the preface page. And again, I'm working from a third tradition. You English guys. The preface is on XI. Yeah. Everybody with me? God, my assistants, they are on the ball, man. Preface, highlighted. Let's move down to the second paragraph. Because this book has become the basic text for our society and has helped such large numbers of alcoholic men and women to recovery, there exists a sentiment against any radical changes being made in it. There's your textbook statement. So highlight, underline, this book, highlight, underline, basic text for our society highlight, underline, has helped large numbers of alcoholic, and in the margin write, and addict, men and women to recovery. Just highlight and underline those pieces. This book, the basic text for our society, has helped large numbers of alcoholic men and women to recovery. Alcoholic and addict men and women to recovery. Let's move down to the next sentence. Therefore, the first portion of this volume describing the AA recovery program has been left untouched in the course of revisions made for both the second, third, and fourth editions, if it says that. Highlight, underline, first portion of this volume, AA recovery program, has been left untouched. So that means exactly the way it was written in 1939, that's exactly the way it appears in the big book today. Let's move down to the next sentence. The section called the doctor's opinion has been kept intact, just as it was originally written in 1939 by the late Dr. William D. Silkworth, our society's great medical benefactor. Highlight, underline, the doctor's opinion has been kept intact, just as it was originally written in 1939 by the late Dr. William D. Silkworth. Highlight and underline that. Let's turn the page, and the last couple of sentences, starting in that last paragraph, if you have a drinking problem. Next to drinking problem, write or drugging or drug problem. So we're highlighting only if you have a drinking or a drug problem. We hope that you may pause in reading one of the 44 personal stories and think, yes, that happened to me. Or more important, yes, I've felt like that. Or most important, yes, I believe this program can work for me. Highlight all that. Underneath that, write questions to be answered in first two steps. Questions to be answered in first two steps.
I'm lost.
I'm lost, Mike.
We're on the back of the preface page, the last paragraph.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh,
Starting at if you have a drinking problem or drug problem, you're highlighting. We hope that you may pause in reading one of the 44 personal stories and think, yes, that happened to me, or more important, yes, I've felt like that, or most important, yes, I believe this program can work for me too. You highlighted all of that. Underneath that, you've written questions to be answered in first two steps. Number one, Did that happen to me? Number 2, did I feel like that? And number 3, do I believe this program will work for me? Questions to be answered in first 2 steps. Number 1, did that happen to me? Number 2, did I feel like that? Number 3, do I believe this program will work for me? Courtney's iPhone. What did we do with the doctors? What did we do with the preface?
You want it from the start? We highlighted this book. We highlighted this book. Basic Text for Our Society helped us with such large numbers of alcoholic addict men and women to recover. The first portion of this volume, AU Recovery Programme, has been left untouched. The doctor's opinion has been kept intact, just as it was originally written in 1939 by the late Dr. D. William Silkworth in our Society of Great Medical Benefactory. And we turned over the page and we went down to the last paragraph and we highlighted, if you have a drinking and drugging problem, we hope that you may pause in reading one of the 42 personal stories and think, yes, this happened to me, or more important, yes, I felt like that, or most importantly, yes, I believe this program can work for me too. And then we wrote questions to be answered in the first 2 steps. 1, did that happen to me? 2, did I feel like that? 3, do I believe this program will work for me?
Good deal. Good deal. Thank you. All right, homework. Here we go. Homework. I want you to look over, go back to the table of contents page. And just look over what's written there. Next week, we'll map out where the steps are on the title page, on the contents page. It says back on the back of the preface page, we hope that you may pause in reading one of the 44 personal stories. I want you to read one personal story in the back of the book, just one, and see how you identify with it. And did that happen to me? Did I feel like that? Do I believe this program will work for me too? And you can do whatever you want to do with that personal story. Highlight, underline, write in the margin. That's between you and that personal story. Then I want you to read through the forewords. You can highlight, you can underline, you can do what you want to, you can just read them, but read through them. First forward to the first edition has some meaty, juicy stuff in it. You do the work with that. When we come back next week, we're going to push off into the doctor's opinion and Bill's story and continue in step 1. We are now in step 1. We're in the first half of step 1. Step 1 is broken down into 2 parts. The first half and the second half. The first half deals with the physical and the mental, and the second half, after the dash, deals with the unmanageability of my life. Therefore, we have a threefold disease. I ask you to bow your heads with me. A moment of silence for the addict, alcoholics that still suffers in and out of these rooms. Join me in the serenity prayer, a moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity
to accept
the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Amen. Anybody